Hi guys, this is Ms. Berg. This is going to be lesson 1.1 and I'm going to try and do lesson 1.2 as well. However, I'm going to at least start with 1.1 and see if it takes up too much space when I'm doing this entire lesson. Also, make sure that you are doing your multiplication facts and you're learning those. You could go on multiplication.com. They do a lot of games and stuff that make it a lot of fun to learn your multiplication facts, so you can do all those games and stuff on there. Today we are going to be writing some notes. First off, after you do this, you should not have very many notes the rest of the chapter. However, this is the one, now that we're starting, where you're going to have to learn some things and that you've never seen before. So I'm going to have you guys write off to the side these notes so that you have them. So that's where I'm going to be starting off. So I'm going to flip my camera here, and I'm going to first have us start writing down our notes. So you might need quite a bit of space, so I'm going to kind of write small. So the first thing that we need to write down is whenever you see times 1/10. A lot of people don't know this, but the fraction bar actually means the division bar. So basically, it is basically saying 1, and then that fraction bar is saying divide by 1/10. So it's 1 divided by 10. That's what that means right there. So when you are doing 1/10, basically you are just dividing by 10. So please write that down right around where I put it, because you're going to need to know that information. And for example, I'm going to give an example here. So say it was 500 times 1/10. Remember, this means you're basically dividing by 10. So this is like 500 dividing by 10. Is the number when you are dividing going to get bigger or smaller? If you are taking 500 and dividing it amongst 10 groups, are you going to be bigger or are you going to get smaller? It is basically making it one place smaller, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. But please write these notes down. One place smaller. And the other thing you need to know is this means move the decimal to the left one place. Okay, so that is what I want you guys to write down to start. Then that is the first thing that you're going to be learning today. The second part is you could also see times 10, which means one place value larger. So, and the other thing you need to know when it comes to this is you are just going to be moving, so move the decimal to the right one place. And we will talk more about that. I'm just writing down the notes so that we can refer to them. So much easier just to write it down and have it, and then we can keep referring back. So remember, Very important to remember as well, the fraction bar means division. Okay. And then the other thing that you are also going to be seeing today is you're going to see the word of 10. Now, of means multiply. So a lot of people don't know that. So basically that means multiply by 10. So in this case it means multiply by 10. And the other thing that you are going to be seeing, and this kind of catches a lot of people off guard, so please bear with me, is of a tenth. Well, yes, of means multiply. So whenever you see the word of, that means multiply. However, the issue with this one is that, remember what we said, that a fraction bar means division. So actually, this multiplication kind of is ruled out by this division bar. So actually, this just means divide by 10, or one place smaller. So one place smaller. Or divide by 10. If I'm going too fast, you can always pause this at any time and catch up. That is no issue as well. So I do want you to know that. You can always pause this, and if you need to go back and wait, catch up, that's fine. And then the last thing that we need to write down is the word is. What does is mean in math? It actually means an equal sign. So that is basically all the notes that we are going to be writing. I do want to quickly talk about this though. So I brought in some manipulatives so you guys can see exactly what it is talking about. So it's saying right here, 1 cube is worth 1. A long is worth 10. 10 of these. So 10 cubes make up 1. So therefore, what is going on here each time is, if you are going this way on the number line, each place value going up. So in the tens, the ones place is 10 of the tens place. So it takes 10 of these to get up into the tens. And same thing here. How many longs will it take to get to the hundreds? There are 10 of these that are needed. And then how many of these hundreds are needed to get 1,000 cube? Well, you need 10 of these to get to 1,000 cube. So here is what is going on. As we are going up with the numbers place value, each place coming from here to here is getting bigger by 10 times 10. So each value that when you go up and you keep going up, you are getting bigger by 10 times bigger each time you go up. So if I am moving, if I want to know how many times larger this one is to the ones place, how many places am I moving? Well, remember, each place value is 10 times bigger. So, but I'm not just going one place, I am going 2 places. So this is times 10 as well. So what is 10 times another 10? That is 100. So therefore the 100, the flat, is 100 times greater than your small cube, your ones place. So that is what is going on there. Now, also going the other way, now each place going backwards, you are just getting smaller by one place. So going from tens to 1, what is happening to those numbers? So 10, going down to a 1, you're actually losing a place value. So this is doing a tenth of that. It is getting smaller by a tenth. Now this one from here to here is again getting smaller by a tenth. So therefore, when you're doing a tenth, that just means you're getting smaller by a place. In other words, over here, you're just moving the decimal to the left one place. You're making that number smaller by one place value. So I'm going to give you an example here. Say it is 500. Okay. And what is a tenth of 500? Well, remember, a tenth is making that number bigger or smaller. We got to come over here. It is making one place smaller. So what you need to do is you need to take the decimal on 500. Well, where's the decimal on 500? Those of you who don't know, if the decimal is never given to you, it is automatically at the end of that number. So we want to make this number smaller. Well, if I am going to go this way with my decimal one place, did I just make my number smaller? No, I did not. I just now made it 5,000. So that is actually going to make, that is actually going against the rule here, and it actually made my number bigger. Remember, it said a tenth. A tenth means dividing by 10. You're making it smaller by one place. So now this was wrong. So now we need to move that decimal to the left one place to make it smaller. So if I just move it in one place, now my new number is actually saying this, which is 50. So 50 is a tenth of 500. So we will be talking more about that. Now, I'm going to give you another one that is going to show you something that is larger. So I'm going to do 30 times 10. Well, remember, times 10 is telling you actually over here is you're going to make that number bigger by one place, or you're just going to move the decimal to the right. So here is this number. I'm going to write that down. Where is my decimal? If it's not given to you, it is always at the end. Kind of like $30. Your dollars, your decimal is always behind it. So this is kind of like writing $30. So there is your decimal if it is not given to you. And we are going to make it bigger by one place. So if we're making it bigger, should I be moving it in or should I be moving it outward? If I move it in, it's going to actually be $3. I don't want that. That is actually making it smaller. It said times 10. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to move it outward one place. So it's actually going to be 300. So everybody see that? It is now bigger by one place. So look at the long and compare it to the small cube. All right, so here's my long, and I'm going to compare it to the cube. So how do I go about taking the long to the cube? It says the long is how many times as much as the small cube. Well, the long is how many times bigger? It takes how many of these small, to get up to a large? It takes 10 of these. So therefore, the long is 10 times bigger. Now it wants us to take a flat and compare it to the long. So the flat, how many times bigger is this flat to this? How many of these does it take to make up this flat? You should be saying this one is bigger, but how many times bigger is this? And you need how many of these to make up this? You need 10 of these. So therefore the flat is 10 times larger than the long. So, and then here you can see that as well. The 100 to 10. So if you take 10 and you times it by 10, it is 100. So therefore the flat is larger by 10. All right, then now it's doing the opposite. It's taking now, oh sorry, no it's not. Take the large cube and now compare it to the flat. So the large cube, which one is bigger, the large cube or the flat? You should be saying this one is larger. But how many times larger is this? How many times larger is this as big as this? So how many flats does it take to make up this large cube? You should be saying it's going to take 10 of these. So therefore, this is 10 times larger than a flat as well. All right, now it wants us to do something different. Now it's saying, look at the flat and compare it to the large cube. So now it's naming this one first. The flat, is the flat bigger or smaller than this large cube? You should be saying that it is smaller. So how now do I say that it is smaller by 10 places? So if you look over here, remember, how am I going to say that it is smaller by 10 or smaller than by an entire place value? So remember, how do I go from 1,000 down to 100? I am going and I'm moving this way. So in order to be moving that way, I am finding times a tenth. It is smaller by a tenth. So that is where you are going to be writing this. The flat is actually a tenth of the size of the large cube. Now it's saying, look at a long. So here's the long and compare it to the flat. So this is what is named first. So is this smaller or bigger than the flat? You should be saying it is smaller. So since this is smaller, you want to know how many times smaller. It is, how many of these take up to make up this again? You should be saying a 10. But how do I say it is smaller? If I times it by 10, it's going to make it bigger. So remember, in this case, in order to just say it is smaller going from here to here, you are going to be saying it is a tenth of a flat. And then it says, look at the small cube and compare it to the long. So here's the cube, and I'm going to compare it to the long. This is first. So is this smaller or bigger than this? You should be saying it is smaller. So this is smaller by how much? You should be telling me 10, right? So, but now how do I write that? How do I write smaller by 10 or smaller by one place? So if you come up here from 10 and then I'm going down to 1, how am I going to say that I just got smaller? This is smaller than this by, again, a tenth. So that is the first part of this. Then we're going to flip it over and we're going to do some of these. So the first thing it says, describe the pattern that you see when you move from a lesser place value position to the next greater place value position. So this is what is going on. The large, so I want you guys to write this down too, so you guys have this in your workbooks. The larger place value is 10 times bigger. It's 10 times larger than the smaller place value. And now it says describe the pattern when you move from a greater position. So it was saying from here, going from here to here, what is going on? It is getting 10 times bigger. But now it's flipping it around. How about if you went from a larger place to a smaller? Well, we went from a long down to a 1. Did it just get bigger or did it get smaller? It just got smaller by 1 place. So how would you write that? You would have to say the smaller place, because it says describe the pattern that you see when you move from a greater place to the next smaller place, or next lesser. I don't like how they worded that. The next smaller place value position. It is getting the smaller place value is 1/10 or times 10th of the value than the next larger place value. Okay, I know that that was a very wordy first couple of things that it's throwing at you. I'm going to try and start making this a little easier on you. So here's the next thing. It says you can use your understanding of place value patterns as the place value chart to the right that is 10 times as much as or 1/10 of any given number. So what they're saying here is saying that the number was 300. Now they're saying over here, they're saying, okay, what would be 1/10 of this? So here we are going 300 times 1/10, which remember 1/10 means you are going smaller by 1 place. So remember, take your 300. Where's your decimal on at 300? It is at the end. And you're going to make it smaller. So should I move it out here if I want the number smaller, or move it in? You guys should be saying, and if you need to, you could always go back to what it says to your notes. And it says when you are doing 1/10, you need to go to the left 1 place, because you are making that number smaller. So therefore, if I'm going to go left 1 place, my new number is now 30. So it would be 30 here. Now this one's saying, what if you had 300 and you did 10 times as much? What would be your new number? So now I'm just going to do the opposite. And now I'm timesing it by 10, so I'm making it bigger by 1 place. So again, where do I start? I start at 300. Where is my decimal on 300? It is right here, and remember it says times 10. If you need to remember, always go back to your notes. And when it says 10 times, you are making your place value bigger by 1. or just moving the decimal to the right one place. So I'm going to move it, this one, to the right one place. So if I took 300 and times it by 10, now I just made it larger by one place, but just adding a 0. So my new number is now 123, comma 3. So it is now 3,000. So the other thing that you're going to be seeing today is you're going to be seeing these type of things as well. And I do want you to do something for me. Remember when I said is, what does is mean? If you go back to your notes, is means an equal sign. So you need, what I would do if I were you is I would go and I would fill it in this way, because my brain cannot see it in words. I need to write it down in an equation for my brain to understand it. And I think it would be so much easier for you to do that. So is, so blank is, which means equals, 10 times as much as 300. So let's write that. 10 times as much as 300. Oh, so they're saying what you're going to do is you're going to do 300 times 10. Well, we already did that over here. So that came out to be 3,000. So that is our answer, 3,000. And then this one down here says blank is, which means, remember, is means equal, a tenth of, oh no, what does of mean again? Oh yeah, that's right. Of means multiply of 300. So guys, please don't get confused by this. Even though you have a times here, this 1/10 and this division bar within the fraction bar is a division bar. It's going to make it smaller. Keep that in mind. I know this is going to be very confusing because it will have a time. So a lot of kids are like, but it says times, so it's going to make it bigger. No, but what are you timesing by? You're timesing by a number that is smaller than 1 whole. So you're actually making this number smaller by 1 place. So technically speaking, you are taking 300 and you are making it smaller by 1 place. So where's the decimal on 300? It is right here. And to make it smaller by a place, I am going to, remember, move it in 1 place. So my new number is 30. So here are going to be some more problems that we're going to be doing together. Please work with me here. This is basically what part of your homework is going to be, is off of this. So I will be here to help you out on that. Here we go. This one, and I don't like how they made up this chart. Please keep these separate. So here is your number. It is 10. Now it's saying, what is 10 times as much as 10? That's what it's saying. So if you do that, you would take your 10 and you're basically timesing by 10. That's what it's saying. Taking your 10 and timesing it by 10. So I took my 10 and I'm timesing it by 10. What does that come out to be? Well, a lot of you should know, oh, 10 times 10 is 100. And you were right. It is 100. However, if you don't know that, remember, you just take your first number, which is 10 in this case, and you are going to make it bigger by 1 place. Remember, timesing by 10 makes it bigger by 1 place. So you're just going to move it out 1 place, and now it is 100. So that is what you can do. Now, please be careful of this, because what a lot of kids would do is they would then take 100 and do the next part, which is not what they want. They want you to still keep this number, but now they want you to do a 10th of 10. So basically, they want you to take your 10 and now do a 10th of that. So remember, a 10th means making it smaller by 1 place. So if you find 10, where's your decimal on 10? It is right here. And remember, we're going to make it smaller by 1 place. So should I be moving it to the left or to the right? Should I be making it go out this way to make it bigger or smaller? So I want it smaller because remember, dividing by 10 is what this means. So I will make it smaller. Which one will make it smaller? I should be moving it in one place. And so my new number is now just a 1. If you want to put the decimal there, that is fine. You don't have to. But some kids just like to put the decimal so it doesn't mess them up. So it is 1. Now here, it is saying take your 70, and now you're timesing it by 10. So if I took 70 is where I start out at, where's my decimal on 70? It is right here. And then it says timesing by 10. Remember, timesing by 10 means you're getting it bigger by one place. So should I be moving it in for that to make it bigger or out? You guys should be saying, well, in would make it 7. That is smaller than 70. Or out is going to give me 700, which is bigger than 70. So it should be going out one place. Would be making it bigger. So your new number would be 700. Now, here's the issue. Please don't take this number and then find a tenth of this. That is not how they want you to do. They want you still to take your number 70. So you're going to take your number 70, and then you're going to find a tenth of that. So a tenth means you are making it smaller by one place. So now if it was 70, so here it is. Here's my decimal. I'm going to make it smaller by one place. That means I'm going to shift it in one place value. Now it is just 7. Next, 9,000, and then you do it 10 times that amount. So here's 9,000, and then I'm timesing by 10. So if I do 9,000, there's my decimal to start off, and then I'm going to make it bigger by one place. I'm just going to shift it on out one place and add a 0. So now I got 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, and then a 9. And then every 3 from the back, 1, 2, 3, made a comma. So this is 90,000. And then the next thing is taking 9,000. Again, is our number, and now we're going to find a tenth of that. That means we are going to make it smaller by one place. So what you could do is you could just take this decimal and just move it in one place. And now your new number is going to be 900. So that is what you are going to be doing. I'm going to do some with you, and then I want you guys to be doing some on your own, and then pause it, and then come back to it and see if you were right. So I'm just going to quickly do this. Here's another thing that you are going to be seeing this year, and I don't want it to get you all confused, but it could get you very confused. So please stay with me on this. You remember how in school, when you guys were probably young, you guys actually did something like this. They would have like a box here and say, okay, 5 equals 3 plus what? Well, you need to figure out what this answer is. Well, in order to do it, your teacher could have said, you could just do the opposite of whatever is there. And what is there? It is an addition sign. So the opposite would be a subtraction problem. So if you wanted to figure out this answer, you would do the opposite. This is also called algebra, by the way, when you work backwards. So 5 minus 3 will also give you your answer because you just worked backward. It would have been 2, so then your missing number would have been 2. It is basically this next kind of part. That's why it is very important that you should be writing out what it means so that you can see what is going on. So this one says 500 is. Remember, is means equals. Then it says 10 times as much as blank. All right, so 10 times as much as blank. Uh-oh, it's just like one of those problems up here, but it is not a times problem. It is not an addition problem. It is a times problem. So does anyone know what the opposite of timesing is? You guys should all basically be saying opposite of timesing is division, and division is the opposite of multiplication, just like the opposite of addition is subtraction, and the opposite of subtraction is addition. So it goes the same way, because if you work backwards here by adding these two, it will come back to your original answer. So here's the same thing. They gave us the answer already. So we can't times by 2. We have to do the opposite of timesing by 10. We have to now divide by 10, or do a tenth of it. Keep that in mind. So actually, in order to find this answer, we have to work backwards. We got to go this way. So in order to go that way, we have to change up this and do the opposite. So you would take 500, and then your decimal would be right here. And remember, now we got to do the opposite to find the missing answer here. So we are going to go and make it smaller by a place by moving it in, and that will now be 50. So in order to check and make sure that this is right, you could just simply go this way and make sure it makes sense. 50 times 10 should equal 500. Does 50 times 10 equal 500? Yes, it does. All right, so now we're going to go on to this next one. So now we have 20,000 is, remember that means equals a tenth of, remember of means times blank. Okay, so this is another issue. It gave us our answer, but we need to find the missing factor here, the missing product. So how do I do this? I have to now work backwards. And what is the opposite? Remember, this means dividing by 10 right here. So what is the opposite of dividing by 10? You should be saying it should be multiplying by 10. So what you would do is you would take 20,000 and times it by 10. So remember, when you're timesing by 10, all you're simply doing is you're moving that decimal outward to get one place bigger. So now you just rewrite this. So now it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, and then a 2. And then remember, starting from the back, every 3 need a comma. So 1, 2, 3, comma. So that is 200,000 is what it, if you take 200,000 and you find a tenth of it, that means getting it smaller by one place, will it give you your 20,000? So if you move it in one place, will it give you 20,000? Yes, it will. So therefore, it is correct. The next thing is another one of those. I know I'm not a big fan of these ones either, but unfortunately, we are going to be seeing a lot of these this year, so we might as well just get used to doing these. So this is a tenth of blank is 900. Well, I don't know what this is. And remember, we have to work backwards because they gave us the answer here. So in order to go backwards, remember, a tenth truly means dividing by 10. So we have to do the opposite of dividing by 10. What is the opposite of dividing by 10? Is timesing by 10. So therefore, I would take 900 and times by 10. So obviously that means I'm just moving my decimal out one more place to get it bigger. And if you need to go back to that first page that has all those notes to see that, you could always refer back to that whenever you need help. So it is 9,000, and then take a place value away, basically. One place value better, smaller than that should be 900, which is a true statement. Next, This one is you would take 600 is 10 times as much as blank. So here's another one of those problems. 600 is 10 times a blank. So therefore, again, they gave us the answer. So we have to work backwards again. So what is the opposite of timesing by 10? Would be dividing by 10, or in this case, finding a tenth of it. So I am just going to find a tenth of it. Remember, if I'm finding a tenth of that number, I am going to make that digit smaller by moving it one place to the left. So if I do that, it should be 60, and then I can always check it, make sure it's right. 60 times 10 should be 600. So if you go through, here's 60, making it one place bigger, that would be 600. So that is correct. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want you guys to do this on your own as soon as I am done going over these ones. I do want you to spend time on this, but I do want to go over a couple with you real fast. Again, this is just like this previous part, but some of you may not need to write all this stuff down in between anymore. Some of you may. So therefore, it's saying you have 500 and then you're timesing it by 10. So if you're timesing it by 10, remember you are just simply making it one place bigger. So you would have the decimal here and moving it outward one place. So now that is 5,000. Okay, now here's the big thing. Don't forget this 500 comes over here. Still, they just want you now to find a tenth of 500 now. So now if I had a 500 and I found a tenth of it, remember a tenth means going smaller by one place. So my decimal on 500 is right here. So if I'm now making it smaller, remember if you're going smaller, you need to move that decimal to the left. So I'm going to move it inward to the left one place. And now my new number is going to be just 50. Okay, next, taking 90 and doing 10 times that. Some kids are just going to be like, oh, I can do this without it. I'm just not going to keep writing this all over again. You can just say, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to move it out one place if I'm timesing it by 10. So my new number is 900. And then this one, people would just write down 90, and then finding a tenth of it just means taking that decimal and going in with it, and it's now just going to be a 9. Same thing here. 6,000, if you're just going to add another place to it, you are truly just going one place over, and it is really now going to be a 6 with 4 zeros, and then go from the back over, it would be 60,000. Same thing with 6,000, finding a tenth of 6,000. Now I'm finding a tenth, so now I am going to be going in one place, and that would be now 600. Here is another one. You have 200. Now you're going to find 10 times that. So I have 200. There's my decimal. If I'm making it bigger, I'm going to move it to the right one place. Now my new number is 2,000. And then here, I'm again going to take my original number, which is 200, and now find a tenth of it. So then I just start at the back. And now a tenth means I move it in one place to make it smaller. My new number is 20. So that is what you are going to try over here in this column. And then I'm going to quickly just write this. This one says 4,000. Remember, is means equals blank times 4. Now, some people will be like, oh, well, this is an easy one. You are either going to complete the sentence with 100 or 1,000. So is 100 times 4 going to give you 4,000, or is 1,000 times 4 going to give you that? You should be saying Well, I need 3 zeros is what is needed. So how many which number is going to give us 3 zeros? It is going to be your 1,000. So this one is 1,000. Then here, 600 is blank times 6. So how many more zeros will be needed? We need 2 more zeros to make 600. So which number should we put in there to make it 2 more zeros? You should be saying 100. So I want you guys to try this out real fast. Go ahead and pause it, and then you can try it out and see if you got your answers right or not. While you are doing that, I'm just going to quickly just fill it in. So here you should have had 10 and then timesing it by 10, making it one place bigger. So you're just adding a 0 onto it. That would be 100. Then here you would have your 10, but then you are moving it in one place to make it smaller. So it is actually just 1. This one, a 3,000, and then you're making it one place bigger. So it's actually going to be 30,000. And then this one, if you had 3,000, which is this, and then you're going to make it smaller by one place. You're going to move that decimal in. So it is now just going to be 300. And if you want to just do it that way, just make sure you're boxing in your final answer. Don't box in all of that, because then it looks like you just boxed in 3,000. So this one, 800 times 10 should be 8,000. You should be seeing some type of a pattern by now. And then 800, what is a tenth of 800? You are just moving the place value in 1 on 800, which would just be 80. On this one, if you are have 50 and you're timesing by 10, you'd be moving it out one place, so it would be 500. And then if you have a tenth of 50, you're moving it in one place, and that would be 5. Then this one, 200 equals what times 2? So here, what do I need to finish this sentence off? Do I need just 2 zeros or 3 zeros? I need 2, so which number is going to give me 2? You should be saying 100 here. Then this one, just be very careful. On this one is saying 700,000 equals blank times 700. So far we have 700. So if you want, I have the kids kind of circle it to see what they already have. But then what else is needed to figure all of this out? We still need 3 more zeros. So which one, 100 or 1,000, would complete this? You should have said 1,000 because it needed 3 more zeros. So that is basically how you do it. And that's going to be kind of like how the homework is going to look today as well. It says, explain how you can use the place value patterns to describe how 50 and 5,000 compare. Now, what you could say here is you could say a couple of different things. You can say 50 is smaller than 5,000 by how many places. So you can look here, 50 is right there. So it is 2 places smaller. So again, 2 places is not just a 10, but times by another 10, that is actually 100. So therefore 50 is 100 times smaller than 5,000. You could have also flipped it around and said 5,000 is 100 times greater than 50. Why is that? Because 5,000 is 2 places larger than 50. All right, then this one says 30,000 is how many times bigger than just 30? Well, here's 30. So how many times greater is that? It needs 3 zeros. So what number is giving you that? It is 1,000. So this one now is saying is blank. Oh, so now this one is actually saying something different. We're going to have to figure it out. So it's saying you're taking your 3,000 and you're making it bigger by one place. So I'm going to take my 3,000 and just add another place. That would be 30,000. Okay, so